EGM Network. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Lou Ciambriello, and you are watching or listening to Cottage Conversations with Mary Lou Ciambriello. I'm a realtor in Indian River County, and today we have a really, really important subject. We're going to be speaking with Ryan Lloyd about hurricanes. He works for our county, and he's the head of, give us your title, Ryan.
Yes, ma'am. I'm the Deputy Director of Emergency Services, and I'm the Chief of Emergency Management for Indian River.
Wonderful. I'm just a realtor. And so what we're going to be talking about is that today, this is extremely important. And I know that in past podcasts, I make fun of Jennifer when she mentions hurricanes. But the reality is that hurricanes are extremely deadly, and we do need to be ready for them. But before we do that, we're going to do a shout out. I'd like to do a shout out to Ida King, who is now going to be a school teacher. It wasn't enough for her to be an accomplished attorney or accountant. She's now teaching school. So we also want to remind you that school is open, so please be careful when you see children in school buses and be mindful. And for you children going to school, please come home a little smarter every day. So let's get going with our podcast. Jennifer, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jennifer Artiega, realtor with Remax Crown Realty and Mary Lou's sidekick.
And she loves talking about hurricanes. Okay, and Brian, please introduce yourself and tell us something special about you.
So my name is Ryan Lloyd. I've been in Indian River County or the Treasure Coast since 2000. I guess on a personal note, I really enjoy playing piano.
Wonderful. Oh,
I want to learn how to play the piano.
It's never too late to learn.
Yes,
Jennifer.
I do want to learn.
Oh, I think that's great. I like to look at them, dust them maybe. But anyway, Ryan, let's start with, we're going to do a slide presentation because I did go through and research what other people have done for hurricanes. And frankly, I found them that they ran short. And Ryan is going to give you a blow-by-blow information on what's going on, and then when we're done, if we have time, we're going to ask some questions of Ryan for your benefit. So go ahead, Ryan. So let's start with slide one, I guess, Jesse.
Well, we're really honored to have a chance to talk to the community and talk with you today about this important topic. You know, hurricane season comes every single year, June 1st, November 30th.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get ahead
there now.
No,
that was good. That was great.
Yeah, it's something that we all have to take in consideration and we all have to prepare for. You know, I just want to say up front that the more time and preparation you put into hurricane preparedness, the better you're going to fare. And not just for hurricanes, but for disasters in general. So it's easy to want to procrastinate on that for a variety of reasons. But if you wait until a storm's approaching, you're going to find that many of the supplies that you need is just simply too late.
And it puts stress on you, unnecessary stress. Preparation takes away the stress. It's stressful already to know that you have to get ready for a hurricane, but if you're ready, at least it's that less stressful.
Yep, and you don't have to get ready all in one day. You can do this over time. So.
Exactly.
Well, we look back, to the last year, Hurricane Milton made a significant impact on our community. When we were looking at Hurricane Milton, it was obviously a West Coast landfall, so nobody knew or expected a historic tornado outbreak to occur here in Indian River County and the Treasure Coast as a whole. There were 17 confirmed tornadoes within the Treasure Coast. We had 8 here in Indian River County, 7 to 8. There was some debate whether or not there was 2 tornadoes in downtown Vero Beach. But what we noticed about Hurricane Milton in the emergency management field is the strength that it had in a 24-hour period. It increased approximately 95 miles per hour in a 24-hour period in the Gulf of Mexico, and that's one of the strongest increases in the history of meteorology. We're very blessed as a community that we didn't have any fatalities in Indian River County. Just to the south in Spanish Lakes, they had 7 confirmed fatalities. And Spanish Lakes is very close to our border. So we're very blessed from that aspect.
And how about Port St. Lucie had some issues as well.
They did, yeah. There was significant home damage down there. But up in our area, we had 51 homes destroyed, 91 with major damage. And this was a disaster that was different from anything that we've had since basically the hurricanes of 2004.
No, I worked a cleanup on down there. I'm an older person, but I was able to I didn't work the cleanup. I did the photos.
Right.
But anyway,
you're good at that, Mary.
That's pretty much what I do.
But what this is, it's a reminder that we can't take Gulf Coast storms lightly. We always think that they're going to weaken as they come across, and they typically do as they cross the Florida, peninsula. But in this case here, it spawned a historic tornado outbreak.
And Floridians are pretty good about being ready, though. I think that we take it seriously.
I think Floridians do, but I also think that we have a lot of newer residents.
That was pretty much the purpose of this podcast, was that, the new residents really don't understand that it's just a matter of getting ready and staying in place. Okay, I'll let you go on, because I can take over.
Sure. So we look ahead now to the this current season that we're in. The forecasts have come out. There's a couple of variations throughout the year. The first forecasts come out in April and May. But right now we're looking at a forecast of 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5, which could be major. And, we're here pretty much, let's say, in the middle of August.
Yeah.
September, October becomes the peak. So, it's been a relatively peaceful season up to this point. But let's not take that for granted. Let's understand that, the more activity, or the more active part of the season is probably just around the corner.
Well, Andrew was at the end of, in August was Andrew, and it was the one and only storm, and it was horrible.
Yep, and one of the things you're going to hear from us is that it just takes one. The forecasts are important. We do listen to them. We do factor them. We certainly have interest in them, but we always have to remember it just takes one storm.
And where would be the best place for people that live in the county to get their local information? Where would they? I get a weather alert.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, in terms of the updates on the storms as they're developing, but also Indian River County Emergency Management, our emergency services, we have a variety of social media outlets. We have the Aware and Prepare app, and we also have Alert Indian River, which is a completely free service that people can receive phone alerts.
Aware and Prepare, we have to put that up on our Facebook pages,
Absolutely.
Jennifer. That's really good.
Yep.
Okay. And do you want me to ask you some questions? Because I do have some questions prepared, but what is it, what do you do after disaster? Like when we had that disaster on Orchid Island, that was just amazing. That island just blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
So that's a broad question, because a lot depends on whether or not a person's evacuated, if they're trying to get back into the county. After a disaster, there's obviously different hazards that can exist within our community. There could be infrastructure damage, red lights may not be working, or they may not even be there.
Yeah.
Stop signs could be blown down, floodwaters. It seems like every time there's a hurricane, you always see on the news there's people playing and riding their bikes through the floodwaters.
I know, they think it's
and doing
fun.
stuff.
Sounds like my boys.
Well, the reality of it is that those floodwaters could have contaminants in it.
Absolutely.
And if a person has an open cut or something, it can turn into a nasty infection and cause significant health problems.
So then let's talk about evacuating. When should people evacuate? My daughter lives on the island.
So the first thing I want to advocate to people is that you should know your home and you should know your zone. And what I mean by zone, are you in a flood zone or are you in a storm surge zone? But let's start with the basics of home. You should know your home better than anybody else, and you should know what the resiliencies are, what the hazards are, or the potential problems. Do you have a newer roof? Do you have impact windows? And then as you're factoring those things, you need to have a hurricane plan. And you need to have an idea of when you're going to evacuate, at what stage or what level of a hurricane or category you're going to evacuate. So you need to have all these things planned out. A communications plan, who are you going to stay in contact with, and maintain a phone list.
And you can kind of do like a one-time plan and have it ready for every year. It doesn't have to be done new every year. It can be tweaked maybe.
We update plans all the time, and our citizens can update plans all the time as well. But typically with a hurricane, if we're going to issue a mandatory evacuation, you're going to hear the following. Areas east of US 1, areas that are vulnerable for flooding, people that live in vulnerable homes, and also people that may have needs that would be compromised if there was a long period of time without electricity. And that's typically what our mandatory evacuation is going to sound like. We do not take that decision lightly. We know that there's a lot of hardship that can occur with evacuating. There's a lot of finances and expense. But if we make that evacuation order, we certainly advocate that people take that time, get their stuff together, and leave.
And we're going to be posting the shelters for special needs. And when do you suggest people with special needs evacuate?
Well, For special needs, there's a registry every year. So it's an annual
Yeah, I saw
registration.
that. Yeah.
And the special needs shelter is really for a select group of people that have special medical issues. People that are electrical dependent, people that are on nebulizers, people that are dialysis. Our health department and fire department run the special needs shelter, and they screen each person to see whether or not they really qualify for that. So if a person believes that they're going to need to have a special needs shelter provision, they need to go ahead and get the application submitted.
And then I read that was Treasure Coast Elementary.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
where it goes.
Yep,
Okay.
Treasure Coast Elementary off County Road 510.
Yeah, right around the corner from us. And now, what about people with pets? There are some shelters that allow pets. I thought there was only one, is what I found.
Yes, we have a pet-friendly shelter, and that's typically the Freshman Learning Center at the 800 wing. The Freshman Learning Center is also one of our general population shelters, but we basically segregate a part of it so that way pets can be in there. But people need to understand they're responsible for their pets when they're in the shelters. They're responsible for the feeding, the maintenance, and the care.
Exactly.
There is no registration for the pet-friendly shelter, but again, people need to understand and be cognizant that pets are their responsibility. But the other thing, too, is let's go back to the hurricane plan that people should have for their households. You need to plan for your pet. Do you have enough medication in case you do evacuate from the area? Do you have enough food? Many people will not evacuate because they will not leave their pets.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. Our pets are very special to us.
Well, we've done several shows on pets, and I can tell you the one that
People
got
are
the
passionate.
most. We're very passionate about our dogs. How about I don't know, getting ready. I mean, the hurricane box. Like right now, my husband and I start eating out of our freezer. We spend all year trying to fill it up, and now we're eating out of it. I've got some empty shelves in there. Gasoline. People need to have cash on hand. I always freeze water, and to keep my freezer and my food safe. That type of thing. What other suggestions do you have for us?
Imagine a scenario where there is no electricity for 5 to 7 days.
I've done that.
And with Gene and Francis, we actually did it even longer.
I did that.
Many parts of our community were without power. What do you need for the next 5 to 7 days?
Water.
You need water. That's right.
Your can opener.
You need your can opener.
Money. Cash
is huge, folks. We'll talk about that in a second.
Cash on hand. Gasoline in your cars.
You're hitting the check marks.
Okay.
Charcoal. Well, help me, Jennifer.
Well,
help
we're
me,
gonna grill
please.
and barbecue, yeah.
I hate to fail a test. Okay. We try to have food, peanut butter and jelly as always. You want to have games so that you're not bored out of your mind. You want to have, I'm trying to think of communication, something for your cell phones. We have a
Make
radio.
Sure your phones are charged.
Charging.
Yeah.
We can charge our phones.
Them.
We can charge them in one of our cars, but not only one. The other cars don't do it. And I can't think of anything else.
Maybe flashlights.
Oh, flashlights. Yeah, we don't use candles. I use battery operated candles. Yeah.
Your important documents.
Yeah,
Those are important to have with you. Clothes.
Clean clothing. I always do laundry prior to a storm.
Sure.
I always get my laundry done, everything done prior to a storm.
Our prescription medications.
Yes, at least.
Do you wear contact lenses?
No.
Well, one of the things that happened to me during an activation was, I do wear contact lenses, and I'm looking around and I don't have any solution. I'm like, oh no. Some of those little, very basic things.
Exactly.
You really do need.
It is the basic. And you don't think of them. I told you the story about how I was such a hurricane snob. I'm like, wow, we have hurricane impact windows. We've got a new roof. All we have to do is lock the doors. And I forgot to store water, and we ran out of power. This year I have a well.
So another thing I want to talk about with evacuations, we advocate that you do not have to evacuate hundreds of miles.
Just 10 miles.
Tens of miles. Think, because the further you evacuate, the more potential challenges you have of re-entering the county or trying to get back home. After a hurricane, supplies can be short. You may be trying to get back home and there's no gas. So if you can stay within the region, that could be ideal. And everyone has different circumstances. You may have family and friends, but we just want to make sure that people are aware you don't always have to evacuate so far
Yeah, you don't have to
away.
go hundreds of miles
Yeah.
away. 10 miles is.
If your situation's that you can catch a flight and go somewhere out of state and be there for a good while, then that's great. But not everybody has that.
And what happens if you don't evacuate? If you're in an evacuation zone, this is something people need to understand. If we don't evacuate, be aware.
Well, let's think back to Hurricane Ian. I don't have the exact numbers here with me today, but well over 100 people died on their barrier island because of flooding and drowning.
Yeah.
And I can't attribute to each one of those deaths, but I will contend to you that many of those deaths probably could have been avoided
Had they
if people
evacuated.
would have heeded the evacuation.
Yeah.
Can you mandate them to leave? I mean, I know.
We can issue the mandatory evacuation, but no, they're not going to be arrested. It really then becomes their own obligation. And the other thing people always have to remember is that when the wind speeds hit 40, 50 miles per hour
Those
sustained,
bridges,
bridges are likely going to close. And additionally, first responders may not be able to come. We're not going to risk our first responders and their health and safety
because of your bad decision.
because of somebody's
Right.
bad decision. I
Yeah.
mean, there's case-by-case scenarios, don't get me wrong, but services get cut off at some point,
Mhm.
and you are on your own.
And then, Jennifer, do you have any questions, Jennifer? Because you're allowed to talk.
Well, I was going to ask, what's the difference between a tropical storm and a hurricane?
So I have some notes here. Let me refer to these. The tropical storms are basically between the high 30s and 73 mile per hour sustained winds. And then once it hits 74 mile per hour sustained winds and above, it becomes a Category 1 hurricane. As you move up in the sustained winds, becomes Category 2, 3, 4, 5. What I really want to highlight here is that Category 3 and above is what we consider a major hurricane, and that's 111 mile per hour sustained winds and above. Winds are one thing, and yes, they are dangerous. But what I want to emphasize to our community is that more people die and are injured in hurricane-related incidents because of flooding and storm surge. When you hear Category 5, those maximum sustained winds are typically relatively close to the eye wall. And then as you expand out from the storm, those winds become less. But the storm surge, on the other hand, that's what typically causes a lot more damage.
And what is if you're at home and you're concerned, like when they had those tornadoes? What's the safest room in your home?
The center room, usually it's a closet. Sometimes it can be your bathroom, but each person needs to evaluate what is the safest room. And then also, if you have a mattress close by, sometimes you can cover yourself with a mattress, and those things can help too.
And then,
Good to know.
pardon? I
No,
know.
it's very
well,
good
we
to know.
we have I've got 2 safe rooms, but I like my bathroom the best because there's water there.
Yeah.
There's everything I need is in my bathroom.
Yep.
All the necessities are there. Anything else that you can tell us that we need to know? That is how do we fail? What do we do? What are the mistakes people make getting ready, for a hurricane, or don't do when they're getting ready for a hurricane?
Procrastinating and putting it off.
Yeah.
It truly is. Another thing too is not using generators correctly.
Yes.
There are many people that own generators. There are many people that do not own generators, but for the people that do, it's important to know how to use that. It's important to exercise your generator throughout the year. You should have steps lined up. If you're not real adept at using them, have the steps lined up on how to appropriately
and turn them
use them.
on, use them so that you know that they work when you need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Certainly never run a generator
In the house.
extremely close to your house, and never run it in your house.
Or by the AC.
Never run it in your garage.
Mm-hmm.
Do not backfeed. In other words, don't plug directly into a wall plug within your house. There's appropriate ways to
Right.
connect the generator so that way it feeds the different areas of
I
your
just
house.
suffer. I
Well,
just suffer.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my deal.
But it seems like almost every hurricane you always hear people that they pass away or they get carbon monoxide poisoning. So if you're going to use a home generator that is running on gas or diesel, etc., make sure you have a carbon monoxide sensor inside your house.
Yeah.
Carbon monoxide alarm. I mean, $20-25.
I have one because I'm old.
Well.
Okay, I keep one in my house because my car's electric, and my car is not electric. It's quiet,
Right.
and I don't always hear it. But I do know to turn it off. But just because I'm old, I do that.
Yeah.
And then, what else should we know? I mean, when is it safe for us to come out of the house?
So after the storm has passed, one of the things that people do is drain the eye. They like to come out and look because typically if an eye is going over a specific area, you'll have a calm in the storm for a period of time. And it's actually interesting because you can usually look up and see the sky during the eye of a hurricane. But if you're so far away from your house and the other side of the storm comes, and sometimes the back end of the storm is worse than the front end, you could be caught off guard there. So we advocate staying inside the house, but afterwards, number one, look for down power lines. Number two, watch out for those floodwaters. Stay away from down power lines. If we have cell service, call and report them. They could still be live, and people do get electrocuted.
I know.
Watch for wild animals. Wild animals are displaced. I know
they come around. Yeah.
You may not see all. But there may be animals that you typically don't see because their area has been flooded.
Right.
So be careful of that.
And anything else that you can think of, Jennifer? I'm trying to think. School. When do we close schools? Do we, that type of thing? How does that operate?
So we make a decision. We consult with the school district. We actually have an agreement with the school, and the school service our public shelters.
Yeah.
We sit down and we coordinate with them, and there's no cookie cutter answer to that.
Right.
We try to give as much advance notice as possible, and we also try to look at how. If one school closes, they're likely all going to close. So there's no real defined cookie cutter. It happens this way every time answer on that.
Well, the beauty of a hurricane, if we can say there's something nice about it, is that we do have advance warning. It's not like they come and hit us by surprise, like an earthquake or a flash fire or something like that.
Even with Hurricane Milton, there was advance warning that we were going to have storm activity in our area. We didn't know about a historic tornado outbreak, but we were figuring tropical storm, maybe Category 1.
Yeah.
So there's opportunity. And here we have opportunity as well because we are getting close now to the peak of the hurricane season. And if you haven't done things to prepare, please take the time that you have right now. All the stores are open right now, as far as I know. And
there's also there's tax-free items for the hurricane, which is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if the audience can see our slide up there, but August 1st, the Florida legislature passed a permanent sales tax exemption on some disaster supplies, and the items are up there on that slide.
I bought them all before that.
Yeah,
of course.
The smart, and they're in your hurricane box.
Yes.
The big ticket item up there, of course, is a generator, and I think it's 10,000 running watts or below. But if you can get that item tax free, that's a good savings.
Saving money.
That's a good savings.
A good amount of money. Yeah.
Sure.
And then I'm trying to think. There's other things. I know the mistake I made, which was not storing water, but have you had any other silly, are there any fun hurricane stories out there that we could tell?
Probably not on camera.
Not on camera. Oh, okay. But otherwise, it's so important, and Jennifer always likes to mention hurricanes, and I always say, no, call them bad storms, But the reality is that hurricanes are a fact of life here in Florida, especially, and you need to be ready, you need to be prepared. So if you have any questions, we're going to put all the information that you have on our Facebook page, and we'll also connect it to whatever other outlets we have. Yep. Thank you so much for coming, because I know...
Thank you, Ryan.
I know you've got better things to do than talk with Miss Mary Lou over here, but we really appreciate it. And
can I leave the community with a phone number and an email address?
Please do, and we'll put that up there as well.
So if anybody has questions and they need someone to speak with, 772-226-3900. And also they can email emergencymanagement@indianriver.gov.
That's wonderful.
Thank you for all your info, Ryan.
Exactly. And the other thing I want to put out there is that this is one of the reasons why I love this county. Okay. This gentleman works for the county and is accessible to us, a little tiny podcast to come out here and give you good information. So again, I can't thank you enough. You really were. It was great.
Thank you, Mary Lou.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
We had a lot of fun. Thank you. Are we done, Jesse? Okay, yep. Ciao for now. I think we got under the time. Yep. Okay,
What's that, like my 10th podcast and I'm still nervous? Yeah, I'm horrible.
No.
I'm way better in person.
Way better in person.
I am in person, but it's like I can talk to people perfectly. Like my husband's like, what is going on? And I get on here and it's...
If you are ever not nervous, going into somewhat of a
Something's
public
wrong.
speaking, you're not on your edge.
Yeah,
You
I'm always
should be a
nervous.
little
I'm nervous. I've been doing
Okay,
real
well,
estate
thank
for
you.
I've been doing real estate for 23 years. Every time I go.
"115 Briarcliff Circle is ready to steal your heart. Come on in." Grand vaulted ceilings, formal entry, elegant arches, French doors, and open, inviting floor plan. Welcome home. Large living and dining areas virtually staged to help you picture your best life at 115 Briarcliff. A home that feels like a warm hug, arches, soaring ceilings, and sunshine galore at 115 Briarcliff. Another view of the grand living room, featuring French doors to bedroom 3 and a peek at the charming alcove. Gather, laugh, and pass the good times. Formal dining room with a kitchen pass-through ready for your next celebration. More living room magic, vaulted ceilings that lift the space and your spirits. A kitchen made for real life, pantry, loads of space and room for a table for 6. A huge eat-in kitchen with room for everyone. Yes, you even have a pantry. Sunlit dinette with space for 6. A smart flowing floor plan that makes everyday living easy and effortless. Modern living with a classic twist. French doors make bedroom 1 feel effortlessly cool. A peek at bedroom 1, virtually staged to inspire your dream space. Clean, bright, and full of possibilities. Bedroom 1, sleek and simple. The guest bath is all about easy living. Virtually staged to show its full potential. This alcove makes the perfect home office. Fresh and versatile bedroom 2. A sweet start for little adventures. Bedroom 2 virtually staged for children's dreams. Bedroom 2. A blank canvas ready for your imagination. Spacious master bath with dual sinks. And a shower built for stretching out and relaxing. Because one closet is never enough. 2 walk-in closets and a separate shoe closet waiting for you. Look under the arch. Bay window charm meets garden serenity in the master bedroom. See the dream come to life. Master bedroom virtually staged with cozy bay window seating and lush garden views. Not just a laundry room. It's the Cinderella chore room, fit for getting the job done in style. Get the full picture. Explore the 3D floor plan. It is attached to the listing. Enjoy every season from your private screen and patio. Splash, laugh, relax, and repeat. Life is better at Ashbury. The Ashbury Clubhouse, where neighbors become friends. Life's better on the green. Riverview Park, where there's always something happening. Ashbury is a pet-friendly community, welcoming dogs of all sizes. Conveniently located just minutes to the river and only 15 minutes to the beach. Close to fishing, boating, and all your favorite water adventures. Thank you for taking the time to check out this wonderful home. It's even better in person. 115 Briarcliff Circle in Sebastian,